Sup? Your team sucks. Coming live. Big George is back. He was out last week. He was busy. He's a busy man. George, how the hell are you?
I'm sitting on an emotional roller coaster. Every day seems good, then bad, then good, then bad. Right now, baseball's got me pulling out what's left of my little hairs. I'm just trying to grab them. But I don't know what's worse: the Dodgers going 2-2 to start the season, or this Corona stuff. I don't know. Maybe they should just wash it so the Dodgers can restart. They won 2 out of 4 against the minor league Giants team, which is kind of sad. But
well, it's baseball.
But right now, I think everything's going back to the Marlins and what's going to happen with the Marlins and the 13 guys with coronavirus on the team.
Jordan, how the hell are you?
Doing great. A little bit worried about my Stros and Verlander, just a bit, and whether they're canceling baseball.
Tomorrow the Dodgers play the Astros. I just got to see that series. Dodgers-Astros tomorrow.
So here's the question. Well, as everybody knows by now, a ass ton of the Marlin players and a couple coaches tested positive for the coronavirus. They postponed 3 games, including the Yankee game, because I guess the Yankees had played who did they play, George?
No, the Marlins were playing in Philly, and the Yankees were coming to Philly.
Okay, they're coming to Philly. So all those games got postponed. Now, Big George thinks that there's a really good chance that they're going to cancel the whole damn season again. The commissioner didn't say anything about that in the press conference. My thought is they are not going to do that they are going to ride this thing out. And, I think it's just too much money involved. And I don't think they're going to stop the season, not for one incident. If there's 3 or 4 more of these that happen, then there may be a stoppage or cancellation. But as of right now, I believe they're going to move forward with the season. George, what do you think?
I think without them sequestering the players, it's almost going to be impossible for more flare-ups not to happen, teams not to go down. What happens if the Yankees, the Yankees went into Philly? I think they're still staying in the same hotel that the Marlins were in. So, I don't see how it doesn't start catching fire to other teams, and we have to stop the season.
Jordan?
No, I don't think they have to start the season. I think they did it kind of dumbly by not putting them in the bubble. I think this is going to send shockwaves to the NFL, and the NFL needs to start considering a bubble as well, like real quick. They still have time to change things up. I think it has to happen. I think hockey did it right. Basketball, a lot of no tests. They did it right as well. Still remains to be seen. But I really hope they don't cancel baseball.
Well, I believe.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, John.
I believe, they have to put strict guidelines in place or a bubble, like you said, Jordan. But I truly believe that if they just are self-disciplined and they have rules and they're not going out to restaurants and bars and picking up girls and getting hammered drunk and slobbering all over each other like most baseball players do, I think they would probably be fine. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the team in Miami that this happened to first. If you haven't been to Miami, it's kind of a fun place. And so I don't think they're going to stop the season for this one, but we'll see.
I just don't see how they can contain it to just one. I see it just spreading and spreading unless they move them into some kind of bubble or put them into something. Why don't they stick them in the Orlando theme park over there and let them play baseball there? They have to do something because it's just going to keep going. And I think now football's looking at it. They're probably going to start the season late just to let it try to die down. I could see them starting in November, have a Thanksgiving kickoff or something.
For the NFL, you mean?
Yeah, for the NFL.
I could see them pushing them back.
I could definitely see them pushing back just to try to get away from this as much as possible, try to get the fans in, start November, say maybe Thanksgiving opening day of football. That'd be amazing, huh?
No, that would not be amazing at all. No, I don't want to wait that long.
Well, would you rather them start and the season dies in the second week?
Yeah, we don't want a false start either. But I think that it has to be next man up for baseball at this point. You can't just start and then stop right away and then see what you're going to do.
That sounds good, but it's the next 13 man up. I mean, it's not like one man. It's the next 13 men up.
There's a lot of guys who aren't playing minor league baseball who would love a shot in the pros right now. I guarantee it.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, George, the Giants just beat the Dodgers 2 games, 2 out of 4, with a bunch of players that had never been the MLB at all. So, hey, let's see what these young guys can do. These MLB players that went out and partied and, slobbered all over each other. Well, they now have the coronavirus. Let's see what some of these young guys can do. Let's move them up and see what happens. I mean, George, you played ball. The difference between those AAA players and even some of the AA players and the major league players is about that much. It's not a dramatic difference. And most of the time it's about opportunity. So I would think it would be great to watch these young players get a chance because maybe some of these older players were not smart. I don't know. We'll see, but I would like to see it.
You do see some of the older players right now without the spring training or whatever. They're going down. Kershaw went down, didn't get a start. Kluber went down, didn't get. Well, he had he threw like 6 or 7 pitches, and then he came out. So, them not getting their spring training is going to hurt some of these old guys as well. Just not getting ramped up, ready to play again.
Right.
We're going to have a lot of injuries, not just corona-related injuries, for sure. I expect a lot more in football than baseball if they don't do the preseason games and they don't have the training camp like they normally do.
But how about players just pulling out right now for the fear of what's going on? Just say, hey, you know what? This is too much. I'm out.
The truth is most of the players that are getting it don't even have symptoms, or they have very mild symptoms, and they could probably play. But of course they're not going to let them because they're going to spread it.
Right. I mean, it's definitely, they're not at risk. It's their family that's at risk. It's the old people in their households. It's the who they're bringing it back to, because it's not going to hurt these athletes. Like you say, they don't even realize they're sick.
Right.
That's what's so scary about the virus, though, is you can have it and not know, and just spread it.
It's going to be the next couple of weeks is going to be very interesting to see what happens for all of sports. I mean, we got basketball starting Thursday. At least they're in the bubble. Hockey's right around the corner. It's right now it's do or die for some of these leagues.
No, unfortunately, this is the new sports world that we live in right now. And I think they're going to adjust to it. I really do. And, I think the adjustment the MLB will probably make is to move to the bubble. They may just isolate everybody and change the schedule, but I don't think they're going to stop playing completely. There's been too much excitement. There's too much money involved, and people want it. And if you can't come up with a solution that keeps everybody safe for the most part, then it's ridiculous. You should be able to do that.
They're not safe. And to put them in a bubble, and we were talking about 50-something people. It's not like basketball where there's half that. So it's not as easy to put them in a bubble. And this is basically just showing NFL, hey, this is not going to work.
And NFL is even more people.
Right.
I mean, they're talking about 80-man rosters this year.
And they're full contact. There's no, it's not baseball. Oh, yeah. They don't even touch each other.
Yeah.
How funny is it that the basketball, they previewed the basketball arena and they distanced all the chairs like 6 feet apart on the sideline, and then they go in and like rub shoulders and play against each other? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dr. Fauci when he threw out the first pitch from 90 feet away and he was wearing a mask, and then he was in the stands pulling his mask down, sitting right next to somebody speaking to them. That is a microcosm of this whole fucking thing.
For me, the bad thing is when you see the families walking in, like 3 of the family members have a mask and 2 of them don't. It's like, what the hell is going on? What's the point of anybody putting one on if the whole family is not going to be wearing it?
So 4 games, basically 4-5 games into the season. Right now, my assessment is probably a little bit different than what I thought it was going to be. This is going to be up for grabs. This 60-game season is going to be completely up for grabs.
You guys understand that why Major League did the stupid move they did the opening day where they decided they're going to put half the teams into the playoffs.
Right.
They figured if they keep doing this 60 games, half the teams are going to start opting out at the end when they know they're out of it. So this way, half the league's going to be in. You got a shot all the way through.
That makes sense.
It was dumb but smart. I mean, they added it on the first day of the season, but it makes sense to keep everybody around playing.
Definitely love all the long shot bets for who's going to win it all, though, because it's anybody's, like you said.
Are there any?
Except
Are there
maybe
any-
Toronto.
Are there any lines for the season being canceled from here on out? Any numbers on that? Probably should be.
Put it this way: day before yesterday, I was feeling good about baseball. I'm thinking, "Oh, this is beautiful. The games are looking great. I got baseball back. 15 games on a Saturday, and then bam, Miami's the whole damn team sick."
I will say,
Andy Reid said if they did football, everybody in the league will eventually get it. It's going to happen. And I think baseball, you do the next man up thing, and everybody in the league eventually is going to get it and get through it, I guess.
I think we should all just go ahead and get it and be done with it.
Like when you're little, they take you to try to get you the chicken pox from the other kids.
Yeah.
Did your parents do that, George?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, bro.
They took me over to and then your cousins got chicken pox. They all took us all over there to get it all together.
Was that before child services visited or after?
Yeah, I was born in the 70s, so remember that.
Yeah, supposedly there's a vaccine that is being fast tracked. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but it is actually pretty big news. There's a chance by November or even October, they're saying they're going to have a vaccine for this. Now, the question is who gets it first? My vote is give it to all the damn athletes first. And of course, the first responders and the nurses and doctors and all that. But after you give it to the essential workers, the healthcare, community, after they're taken care of, give it to the athletes. Give it to the NFL players. That's what I'm saying.
I can't argue with it. I can't argue that. I'm sorry to say it sounds like shit, but I can't argue it.
Yeah, the least likely people to actually die from it should get it, right?
Well, then they can't spread it, Jordan, to your point.
Sure.
Right?
That's for sure.
Hey, another interesting thing is the fight that's coming up. Roy Jones Jr. and Iron Mike Tyson. George thinks that Roy Jones is going to kill Mike. And I can't see that. I can't see it. I think Mike's too big, too strong, too fast. And now, listen, I know Roy Jones is one of the fastest, most athletic fighters to ever step in the ring. But that's Mike Tyson, and it only takes one punch. And the way Mike comes at him, Roy's going to be running for his life, and he's going to be trying to keep his distance the whole time. Mike's going to get inside. He's going to catch him one time, and that'll be it. That's if this is a real fight, if they're really trying to fight.
I think
it's going to be a lot of tiptoeing. It's going to be a lot of tiptoeing around each other. I don't know. I think this is much to do about nothing. We'll see.
I really don't think it's going to go off, to be honest with you. There's going to be too much things that's going to push it off. I'm hoping it does. Some of me hope it does. Some of me hope it doesn't, because these are 50-year-old men punching each other in the head. I'm not sure that's a really good thing. I wouldn't want to be hit in the head right now. And these guys are professional punchers. They know how to throw shots. So if I have to pick a fighter, though, I'm taking Jones just because he's been more active. He's a little younger, and he's been active. He's been fighting. All these weird fights every year.
But this is an exhibition. What weight class are they fighting in?
It's probably going to be some catch weight kind of deal. But like I said, I think it's going to be hard to get the fight going. I've seen lines on different sports books. I've seen as high as Mike Tyson's 300 and as high as Roy Jones minus 190. So
right,
it's kind of everyone is putting their little subjective thoughts into it, because who really knows?
Who knows? The dog's the play for sure, just because there's value there.
If Tyson goes in the ring at 220 pounds and Roy Jones is 190 or even 200, there's no way. There's just no way.
I don't know. I just think, I'm the biggest Mike Tyson fan. I love the man. I used to watch every single time he fought. But this is 54-year-old Mike Tyson.
Yeah, but 54-year-old Mike Tyson on the pads looks better than freaking 20-something on the pads, and I get it. It's pads. But, man.
Pads.
I don't
know. The nerves are going to kick in. Everything is going to be – I know it's Mike Tyson, but it's going to be interesting. I hope they do it, but I'll bet money they don't.
Interesting. Is there a line on that?
No, I haven't seen one. I'm going to have to make one up.
There you go.
Make one up. I think I'm going to make a will not go minus $2.
I like it. I like it. Y'all want to talk about anything else this evening?
Well, we got all kinds of stuff coming up. We got the NBA popping off Thursday.
All right.
That's going to be real interesting with the 2 games going off early. The Lakers are going to show up and see if they're ready to make this run on this little weird 8-game stint and
8
see what
games.
happens. It's an 8-game positioning stint to see what they do with the playoffs. But I'm interested. I want to watch. Sports is good. Bring them all.
I definitely want to watch. I think it's going to be tough to shoot on those courts with the screens behind them. I mentioned that. But we'll see. I think this might be good for some teams that were older teams. Like, it's good for the Lakers. They got to rest. Maybe they might not be in the same rhythm they were in. They were doing pretty good, but they've got some older people. LeBron's getting older.
Are you really going to sequester LeBron James, who's almost a billionaire, for 3 months in some locked up hotel? How is that really going to be possible? Is he they're going to lock this man up for 3 months in Disney World?
I think he's mature, and there's older players who'll do fine. I think it's the younger guys who are going to be losing their mind, trying to break out of quarantine.
I think there's going to be a lot of helicopters flying in there with all kinds of little packages.
Yeah. I never thought I would hear the words sequester a billionaire at Disneyland. I mean, it is some fucked up, weird times that we're living in right now, man. And, I hope this all turns out well. I would love to see everything get back to normal. I think we're about 6 to 8 months from that. God willing.
Look how New York was able to get through it fairly quickly. That's what I keep pointing back to. I mean, New York did. New York is on the other side of it. I think these other cities just need to get there. Italy's on the other side of it. They flattened the curve. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
But they're not like
no, really
stopping. They're still out there doing their thing. So I don't see how it's going to stop if no one's home, staying home.
Well, it only stops. Well, first of all, I believe that the numbers are inflated, but it only stops when you have a vaccine. It's back to my point. All the major athletes should get the vaccine first.
So what they should do is they should bubble all the major athletes, give them the coronavirus, bubble them with the coronavirus. None of them are dying from it.
These guys are real people. They're not video game players. Like, they're real actual people that you're just trying to throw in these little rooms. And I mean, you got to think about them as well.
They're people that are used to pretty much doing whatever they want to do when they want to do it.
Look at Lou Williams. Lou Williams snuck out to get some hot wings at the strip joint. They need their fix.
He's like best hot wings at a strip joint.
Wait. You got to tell this story. What happened?
Well, Lou Williams left for some family emergency, and then they catch him at Magic City. I think it was Magic City. Supposedly he's getting wings or something because the food's so great there. He had to drive down there to get some new wings. So to get some new wings.
Well, that was an emergency then.
But now he's back. He's back in the bubble, and now he has to stay in there sequestered for 10 days. So it's going to be. They're kind of penalizing him. He's not going to get to start in the beginning of the season. But
did they test him?
Well, he has to get tested the whole time. He's got to fail. He's got to pass 2 times in a row, and he's still going to be sequestered. Or for 10 days, they're going to stick him in a room. So that's his punishment for headed to the strip joint.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? Dave Sullivan says, "Sweet Lou," right?
You got to get what you got to get. Sometimes the man needs what the man needs.
Right. We got to go with the name of the show, Seattle Kraken. Your team name sucks. Nice jerseys, though. I was going the other way with that, actually. I don't mind the name the Kraken, but they look like the Mariners jerseys. I don't know. They could have done so much better than that with some lime green or something. They're like the Seahawks jerseys. I don't know.
Dude, I hope I'm pronouncing this okay. It's either Bow or Bo, but that's a stupid fucking name. The Kraken? That's a terrible fucking name.
It's not bad. Come on.
Dude, the only worst name is the Washington football team. That is the only name that is worse than the fucking Seattle Kraken. It's a terrible name.
It's a terrible name. I don't know how they came up with that, but it's a terrible name.
The Washington DCs.
Yeah.
That's almost bad.
So, George, we didn't get your take on that last week. So what do you think of that? The Washington effing football team.
I don't really care what they call them. I've always hated the damn Redskins. But if you want to go back and call them anything, why can't we call them the Hogs? I think that's the best fit for them.
Bo.
That's how I know them, the Hogs. So I don't care what they call them. I just want them to lose.
It's Bo like an arrow, by the way. Is Bo's name?
There you go.
Like an arrow.
I agree with you, Bo. That team name.
It's a shitty name.
I agree.
The only reason Jordan likes it because he looks like the fucking Kraken. That's why. You should be their fucking mascot.
I'm probably the only one here who's been watching the fantasy expansion drafts for the Kraken that everybody's putting out. They're pretty interesting. I mean,
you might be the only one in the world watching that. You're right.
Washington Groundhog, same color as Dart. Nice.
That's pretty funny.
No, they should be the Congress people. I said that. The Washington Congress people. It's very PC. Works great.
That's also a terrible name, Jordan.
I agree. Terrible name.
Why not just call them the Washington fucking Kraken? Why not?
Just get every league with a Kraken team. There we go.
I still stand by my claim that it's much more racist to keep the Cowboys name and get rid of the Redskins, because now what do you just have? Cowboys. You have no you have the Chiefs. Okay. The Chiefs are a representative of the Native American culture, the honor, the strength, the power, but not in the same division, right? Not in the same conference either. You got those racist fucking Dallas Cowboy fans like George that, you hate anything Redskins, George.
And anything NFC that's not Dallas. Fuck them.
Dave Sullivan, that's a good one, Dave. I like that. Washington Gators, Swamp for the Swamp Things, or even the Washington Swamp Things. That would be pretty good.
Swamp Things isn't bad either.
Yeah,
there's so many inventive names you could do. They went with basically a soccer team's name. Football club from here.
Well, they just basically sold out. They're like, what can we do to not offend anyone? That's what they did. They came up with the
owner was like, in the middle of a sex scandal. I can't think of this about this.
It's crazy. It's amazing how that all just lined up. Is they had to change their name, and then there's a sex scandal where apparently, I mean, how do these things always just seem to happen at the same fucking time? It's amazing. It's like it's planned. Anyway,
they pull back the covers on one, and everything comes running out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? What is the most likely league to survive? MLB, NBA, or NHL? Which one's going to finish?
I think NBA's got it. I think NBA's got the right track right now.
I think NHL
I think NHL. They're in Canada. They're bubbled up.
Yeah.
They're not telling anybody.
Yeah, they're fucking hockey players.
But my thing is, I really don't see hockey as a major sport anymore. So I kind of don't. They're like the MLS. Like who gives a shit?
Not at all. I'm so excited about hockey.
We don't live in Canada. We don't live in Canada. Who cares?
I think I'm more excited about hockey than basketball. It's going to be great.
I'm definitely more excited about baseball than both of them, quite honestly. I want to see baseball. I want to see a season. I want to see the 60-game season with all those teams in the playoffs. It's going to be really interesting because we've never seen anything like this before in baseball. It's going to be really interesting to see the dynamics from going from that really, really long season to, a shortened season where you put a bunch of teams in there, because it's baseball, man. It's all about the pitchers and who's hot at that time.
Well, that's
like I said, it's
who's hot in the playoffs, because it's just going to be half the league's going to the playoffs this year. So who's hot? Who's going to be hot? Whose bats are hot? Whose pitching's hot? Half the league is in the playoffs this year. You don't really have to try right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading Bo's comment here.
It's pretty funny too. The Patriots and the Blue Jackets are offensive.
Yes.
Good one, Bo. Maybe we need to bring Bo on the show.
For real.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. So, yeah, I really think, well, of course, we all want to see the NFL.
Yeah.
And right now, I think they totally got rid of the preseason so far. Is that correct?
Totally.
Yeah,
Yes.
they scrapped.
You know what we haven't talked about is Jamal Adams. That was a big move. Worth it?
Huge
Not.
move.
Who won that? Who won that deal?
You know what I heard today, which was kind of something that I didn't think about, is how much are these draft picks going to be worth if there's no college football?
That's interesting.
They might have just traded away for nothing.
I think Seattle wins that big time because the morons at the Jets can't draft anybody for the most part, and they're and their head coach is a freaking dumbass. So it doesn't matter who they draft as long as Adam Gase is their coach. It doesn't really matter.
Two number ones for a safety. Come on, 2 number ones for a safety. If there's really any kind of draft the next 2 years, it's going to be a bad deal for Seattle. Although, hey, they did become the favorite in the NFC to win the championship after that trade.
Yeah, Seattle's
actually got a tough schedule though, and a tough division. I mean, they're basically in win now mode with one of the toughest schedules in the league. I mean, it's rough. I love the Jamal Adams pickup. I think it'll be a late first round picks, which is nice. So I mean, what 28, 30, 29, 2 of those. It's not like it's going to be a top 10 pick. So I think we're going to look back on it and say Seattle got the better deal there. I mean,
we haven't talked about.
Well, if Seattle doesn't,
we haven't talked about their.
They don't have a better deal. It's this year or nothing. They're not going to sign him.
I think they sign him.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, they have to try.
The Jets owner,
Super Bowl or bust, I guess.
The Jets owner got in trouble too. I don't know if you heard about that. He's being investigated for some type of inappropriate comments or something like that. Right. I mean,
it's hard to open your mouth now without saying something inappropriate. Right?
Yeah, I don't think any of us will ever be owning an NFL franchise.
No.
I'm lucky they let me on the podcast.
Like publicly embarrass yourself while sitting at home. It's fucking ridiculous.
I forget what he was in trouble for, but I just like talking shit about the Jets. In fact, I miss talking shit about the Jets. I think we should just have a shit talking Jet episode where I just talk nothing but shit about the Jets for like.
Talking aside, I read today that Clowney is interested in signing with the Jets. They're in late stages, so that should be interesting.
That's cool. That's perfect. They'll overpay him. He'll be mediocre, and the Jets are now what the Dolphins were 3 or 4 years ago. It's perfect.
No,
with Adam Gase,
Jets are a little better than that. They just have that shitty coach.
Yes,
they have some talent on that team. The team's not.
I think he wouldn't be a bad offensive coordinator or something. He's just not a good leader of men.
He's not. He's a shitty leader of men.
Play calling. I like his offensive game plans and stuff. He's just, I don't know.
Yeah. The best year he ever had was with Peyton Manning in Denver, where they broke all those records. But Jordan, you could be the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning. It doesn't really matter, right?
Peyton Manning should be an offensive coordinator. He's basically his own offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. He was the man.
Let's see.
Clowney's seeing all the free cap space the Jets have now. They do have some cap space, but remember Jamal Adams on his rookie deal, so it didn't free up very much.
Well, but if he's on his rookie deal, that means they had some cap space.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the GMs, I don't know if I mentioned this, the GMs rated the top 10 best players in the NFL, and the consensus rating was Jamal Adams came in around 7th. I mean, a lot of people think he's a top 10 talent in the league. So you get him for 2 late firsts. I mean, I think that's a steal. Hopefully they can re-sign him.
I mean, safety is a non-essential position. Everyone talks about safety is non-essential position. You gave around 2 first-round picks for a non-essential position.
Well, they lost Campbell. Remember when they were good, they had him.
I think the way Seattle plays, though, I mean, it's a great improvement to where they are, and they obviously think he's the missing piece. They obviously think that. And we could argue over a safety being a non-essential position. I think it depends on the style you play and what your team's like. But he's a great player, and I'm glad he's not with the Jets anymore.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. All right. That's going to do it. Bo, like an arrow, thanks for joining us. Sully, thanks for the comments, and we're going to see y'all next time. We're out.
Bo knows. Bo knows.
Bo knows.